Hi, I'm Mickey Jones, and I want to personally welcome you.
I'm Declan Joyce. I want to welcome you.
My name is Joe Estevez. This is Mr. Rig Kennedy.
Actor Mickey Jones. Mickey Jones has starred in television shows such as Home Improvement, Baywatch, and Justified. He's currently working on a new film with Quentin Tarantino called Django Unchained.
Actor Michael Madsen. He starred in a number of films by Quentin Tarantino, such as Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill.
Up-and-coming actor Declan Joyce.
Actor Joe Estevez. Joe Estevez has been in Soul Taker and Not Another B Movie. He is also Charlie Sheen's uncle. Estevez's friend is Rig Kennedy, an actor and published poet.
You have guest starred in hundreds of TV shows including Chips, Charlie's Angels, Baywatch, Home Improvement, and Justified. What are the keys to being a successful actor in television?
You know, you could apply that same question to film as well. Because I pride myself on the fact that when I get a job, I'm doing a guest star, I'm working one day, I might be working all week. I know my material. I work on it at home. I learn everything. So when I show up for work, everybody else better be prepared because I am prepared. And I think when a director, a producer, a first assistant director see that this is a guy who shows up ready to work, he's on time, he knows how to hit his mark and stay in focus, all these little things that we attribute to what a successful actor is, you get booked a lot more than the guy who's a little bit late to work or the guy who has to do 4 or 5 takes because he can't get this one line. You know, it's the guys that are dependable who become the successful actors. There's no question in my mind.
The film and music industries are known for having unique and colorful characters. How do you deal with difficult people?
Difficult people? That's a good question. I try to avoid difficult people. In a situation where we're on the set, if they're doing something that I think is destructive to me as an actor or to the scene, we better stop right now and have a little meeting and a little talk about what we're going to do here. I had a guy one time point a rifle right into my face. Well, you don't do that. And I grabbed the barrel. I said, never, ever point a gun at me until I've seen the breech of that gun and I know it's unloaded. Because you don't know. Supposed to be always unloaded. But if you're going to if I'm going to point a gun at you, I'm going to come over and I'm going to say, I want you to look in this breech. I'm going to pull this receiver back. I want you to see that it's empty. There's nothing in the chamber. Now you know it's empty. Because nobody's going to have that gun in its hand but me, and I've already showed it to you. But for a guy to just walk up and point a rifle in my face, I got a little hot. And this is a little problem we need to talk about. And I got right in his face, and I made it very clear, never, ever point a gun at me until you've come to me and I know that gun is empty. So that's just one little example. For the most part, we're all on the same page. We all want to make this thing as good as we can make it. But every now and then a little glitch will arise like that, and you're not going to get past me on that one.
If your next project was guaranteed to be a major success, would you prefer it to be in film, television, or music?
That's a great question. I think I'd want it to be, and this is going to sound silly, TV. And I'll tell you why. And Bill Bixby told me this when I did my first Incredible Hulk. He said, you can do a movie and it be a smash movie, which we all love to do that. But there's only going to be a certain number of people that are going to go to the theater and see that movie. When it runs on TV, you'll probably get more viewers on television than you ever got in the theater. Bill Bixby said to me, I had a choice when I was a young actor in my career. I could do film and be successful, or I could do television and be successful. I chose television because television, I'm going to see these people in their home every week. When the show is finished running for the season, it's going to rerun in the off season. I'm going to get paid again just like I did that show. So in the long run, I'll make more money, I'll be seen by more people, and I'll be on TV every week if I had a successful TV series. Much more over film. Music is not really in the equation for me today. I still like to play my guitar and I write, but I don't play drums anymore. I burned myself out the 23 years that I was on an airplane 7 days a week, 10 months out of the year, going around the world playing music. And you know what? It's a young man's business. When I was young, I absolutely loved every minute of it. But as you get older, the traveling every single day and being at a different airport every single day got to be a real drag.
If you were greenlit a film, who would be your dream team of actors and crew?
Wow, that's great. Well, I'm supposed to do a movie for Quentin Tarantino coming up called Django Unchained. And I think he has a dream cast. He has Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Basterds, Leonardo DiCaprio, Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Costner, but I heard that might be a change. And and Mickey Jones, which is my dream cast right there.
Have you ever performed a death scene? If so, what was it like?
Oh, I've been killed 92 times. I've killed 137 people on camera, but I've also died 92 times. And and people ask, well, how, if you've killed 137, how come you've only died 92? I said, because in some films, in a film with Don Johnson called Dead Bang, I kill about 8 people, but I can only die once.
What was your toughest acting role?
I think one of my toughest acting roles was one of my first acting roles. And it was an episode of The Incredible Hulk. And I played a mentally retarded kid. He was described as 19 going on 9. And I played him as a little kid in a big body, an adult body. And I had to improvise things. In the episode of The Incredible Hulk, I get in my brother's race car and I start it. And I'm pretending I'm a race car driver. And I'm having to make all the sounds. Get it in second, Ricky, get it. Well, I had to improvise all this stuff. By the time we finished a magazine of film and the director said, okay, cut, I was absolutely exhausted. I could hardly move or breathe. I was so tired. So I think it was probably one of my hardest roles was to play this retarded kid and not make him an idiot or a punch-drunk fighter, but make him a little kid in a big body. And the extremes I used in that was little kids get reprimanded and you get in their face and it breaks their heart. And if you say, hey, Ricky, that was a great job, man, you did great, then they're 10 feet tall. And kids are just that way. They're that vulnerable. They're on top of the mountain or they're in the valley. And that's what I did with that character. And I got submitted by the producer for an Emmy for it. And I got a lot of mail from teachers of retarded kids who said, thank you for not making him stupid or an idiot, because they're not. And so I think that was one of the hardest jobs I had, because quite honestly, you hire me as a biker, I ride motorcycles, I know how to play a biker. I pretty much know how to do that and got it under my belt. You hire me as a truck driver, you know what? I can look like a truck driver. I can talk like a truck driver. I can act like a truck driver. The role I'm doing on Justified right now, I play a character called Rodney Hot Rod Dunham, and he is the big drug kingpin in Memphis. So I got to talk a little Memphis, a little Tennessee, a little Kentucky. And you know what? I can do that. But to play that retarded kid, I'm pretty sure that's probably the hardest job I've ever done.
How important is realism in TV?
You just hit a real soft spot for me. There are shows on TV, and I'm not going to name any names, but they're not real at all. There's gratuitous violence. You know what? You hire me to be a hitman, I'll put a bullet in your head as fast as I can think. But for me to do that, I have to create this character in my own brain. Why did this guy become a killer? What happened in his life to make him so cold-blooded he'd walk up and put a bullet in your eye? Well, I can do that. But show me that in the show. If it's not real and nobody has created a life for this character to make it believable why he's doing the things he's doing, I'm not interested. You gotta create a life and create and give me a reason for your actions. You know, if you can do that, man, I'll be your biggest fan. But so much of television today is just gratuitous violence for no reason. They don't explain why. And I just don't buy it, you know. So that's one of the things I have to give Justified kudos for, is they do make it real. Everything is real on that show.
What's the difference between your artistic influences when you first entered the business versus your influences now?
That's a good question, because when I entered the business, when I started, I knew nothing about acting. I learned through the baptism of fire, I guess, because I learned on my first few jobs that if the camera's right here and it's focused right on me, I can do this and be out of focus. And it maybe is more so with film because it's all manual focus. You hit a mark and you have to know how to hit that mark without looking down at that mark. And if you don't hit that mark, you're out of focus. So you have to learn that technique, how to move into a space and be dead on focus with the camera. Because the cameraman will be your best friend then. And the way you do that is you take a couple practice steps. I know where I'm stepping, and when I step here, I'm dead on that mark. Or if you got to walk all the way across the room, you may have to do something where you're walking across the room and you're going, look. And when I'm doing this, I'm looking to make sure I'm dead on the mark. So there are little tricks and little things that you learn that I didn't know any of that about when I started in the business. And I know those things now. And it's very, very important that every actor know everybody else's job. I need to know what the camera's going to do, if he's going to be on a dolly or where he's going to end up. I need to know where the frame is. Is my frame here or is it here? So I'll know how much movement I have. I need to know where the lights are and which is my key light, so I'm dead in my light. I need to know that I'm not stepping into somebody else's light who's being lit from over here. I need to know is my makeup the right way for this character? So every actor needs to learn every aspect of film and television, because if you know all these things going in, you've helped everybody on the set and they're going to make you look good. So I am 100 miles from where I started to where I am now. And I'm very proud of the work I do. And I think what makes me most proud is that I come to work prepared. I do my homework. And if you do your homework and there's a screw up and it ain't you, that they remember that. They really do.
If you could choose one character that you played on TV to become one of the main cast members of that show, what would it be and why?
Wow. There's a character that I've never played that I'd like to play. I always wanted to play Lenny in Of Mice and Men, which is Steinbeck, one of the greatest stories ever written. Gary Sinise played Lenny, and he's all wrong for Lenny, but he played Lenny in the movie Of Mice and Men, and now it made him a big star. And I would love to go play Lenny, because Lenny is a big guy who's not too bright, and he's kind of a moron, but he has such a great heart. Everybody loves him. And that's a character I'd love to play. If I wanted to do a character, like for a TV series that would last, I play outlaw bikers pretty well. I would like to play an outlaw biker who's really an undercover cop, but nobody knows except one person, and that's his boss on the show. To everybody else, and even to the audience for the first show or two, he's just this outlaw biker. He's not really a cop. But I think that would be a great premise for a series. That here I get to be this really bad guy, but I'm really a good guy. So I just think there's a good writers could have a field day with that concept. I'd love to see that happen.
If you could choose one character that you played on TV to become one of the main cast members of that show, who would it be and why?
Wow. There's a character that I've never played that I'd like to play. I always wanted to play Lenny in Of Mice and Men, which is Steinbeck, one of the greatest stories ever written. Gary Sinise played Lenny, and he's all wrong for Lenny, but he played Lenny in the movie Of Mice and Men, and now it made him a big star. And I would love to go play Lenny, because Lenny is a big guy who's not too bright, and he's kind of a moron, but he has such a great heart. Everybody loves him. And that's a character I'd love to play. If I wanted to do a character, like for a TV series that would last, I play outlaw bikers pretty well. I would like to play an outlaw biker who's really an undercover cop, but nobody knows except one person, and that's his boss on the show. To everybody else, and even to the audience for the first show or two, he's just this outlaw biker. He's not really a cop. But I think that would be a great premise for a series. That here I get to be this really bad guy, but I'm really a good guy. So I just think there's a good writers could have a field day with that concept. I'd love to see that happen. I think one of my favorite characters I've ever played was Ricky in The Incredible Hulk. One of my other favorite characters was Scooter in a movie called The Fighting Temptations with Cuba Gooding Jr., Beyonce, Steve Harvey, It's just, do yourself a favor and rent the DVD of The Fighting Temptations. You will feel like $1,000,000 at the end of this movie. And you will laugh so hard during this movie, you won't be able to stay on the couch. You'll be on the floor. So it's a great movie, and I loved my character. He's a redneck pig farmer who becomes the organist for the all-black Beulah Baptist Church Gospel Choir. And I'm telling you, do not miss this movie. It's one of the most fun movies I've ever done in my life.